June is Pride Month, and this morning's Happier at Home is focused on supporting LGBTQ plus older adults. Deb Marcello joining us this morning with more. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I was telling you, we had one of the senior living facilities on, I think last week, talking about Pride celebrations there.
Yes.
There is a fairly large community, LGBTQ plus community here in Rochester, and that includes a lot of seniors.
Yes.
So talk about kind of the idea of supporting older loved ones who are part of that community.
Well, I feel that our older community within the LGBTQ community, they've been through so much. You know, that generation has gone through the threat of being criminalized, institutionalized, being removed from their homes. So within that community, there are 93% of all counties have gay couples that live within them. So I think if you're not familiar or don't make yourself familiar with that community, that you don't realize the prevalence, and so you're not sensitive to what their needs are as well.
Yeah. So we talk about a number of things. Terminology is one.
Yes.
So maybe you are not familiar with the terminology used in the LGBTQ plus community, but it's really about kind of just being open and learning, right?
Yes, learning. I mean, how many people do know what LGBTQ means? You know, the terminology is evolving also.
Yeah.
So there are some terms, even within my generation as we were growing up, that I don't know, maybe it's offensive to someone who's gay. And so educating yourself about the terminology, but also with those that you know are within that community, seeing what they're comfortable with and what they would be like to be referred to without, you know, there are some positive and there are some negative, and educating yourself about that.
You also say avoid common assumptions when talking to people, right?
Yeah, I think that if you are profiling someone based only upon what their appearance or their bodily actions are, then you're assuming that everyone is heterosexual if they don't look a certain way. So knowing that most likely you're working alongside someone, or you know someone personally in your life that is within the LGBTQ community, and you're not being accepting if you're not open to knowing that you can't just identify someone by their looks.
You actually talked about, we were kind of talking in the commercial break, about kind of educating yourself on this issue too, because
Yes.
obviously you work with a lot of seniors, and that includes seniors who are part of this community, and part of
Right.
your job is to kind of learn.
You know, educating ourselves about having programs for that community so they feel comfortable and accepted. I was telling you that in my household when we were growing up, we didn't talk about sex whatsoever, let alone sexual identity. So just making sure that you're open to learning about others' lifestyles, and then, you know, bringing that into the current generations. In my family now, ever since my children were young, we always are very open about that. Part of that has to do with being in the healthcare field.
Yeah.
But it also is, for me, it's all about love and loving people that are in your community. There needs to be more about it, more of that, and just being accepting. You know, I always tell my kids, you don't know what someone you're passing down the street has behind them, what they're dealing with. So a smile, getting to know them is what will make all of us come together and feel very accepted with each other.
Yeah, embracing our differences.
Yes.
We've got about a minute left, Deb, but talk about being inclusive, in particular with programs for LGBTQ plus seniors, and how you're evolving with your business.
Yeah, we are always educating ourselves there's programs through Sage online, and as we were discussing, there are different events that are coming around, and so we try to talk with our patients openly and encourage them to talk with us if they are within that community, so to see what we can do for them too. So we're always working with our caregivers as well to make sure that they are educated with that.
Yeah, an important conversation. I think we're all learning